Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel, The Boss's Way. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Rocket On deck, one of my favourites actually. Pretty fun deck, but you can actually still get some pretty good wins with it too, and that is our Dark Weezing deck. So Dark Weezing, like all dark Pokemon, has quite low HP, 60 HP, so but that seems to be the trend for dark Pokemon. But it's super fun to play, and we'll get into its attacks now. It does actually hit Feraligatr, which is the best deck in the format, for weakness. So it does have that going for it as well, I guess. So let's jump into the deck profile here. We are starting off with 4 Coffins. This Coffin here, 40 hit points. Tackle for 10, Poison Gas, flip a coin. If heads, defending Pokemon is now poisoned. So, I mean, 1 for 10 is pretty okay back, Rocket On, put a bit of early pressure on. But, if you are attacking with Coffin, it's fine to do so, but you obviously don't want it to be out there in the active for too long. Because it's pretty frail with 40 hit points. And it evolves into then Dark Weezing here, which you have is only 60 hit points. So Dark Weezing Mass Explosion does 20 damage times the total number of Coffins, Weezings and Dark Weezings in play. Apply weakness and resistance. Then this attack does 20 damage to each Coffin, Weezing and Dark Weezing, even your own. Don't apply weakness and resistance. So this is the main attack of the deck. So you want to load up your bench with as many Pokemon that have Coffin, Weezing or Dark Weezing in their name. Now obviously in this deck it's going to be Coffin and Dark Weezing, and then do as much damage as you can with that. Now it does do 20 damage to each Coffin, Weezing and Dark Weezing, even your own. So we play Metal Energy in the deck, which you'll see later on, and when that's attached to Dark Weezing, it'll actually reduce the damage that Dark Weezing does to itself to 0, and it'll reduce the damage done to your Coffins and Weezings on the bench from 20 to 10. So it's a really, really useful card. So we'll be looking at that later on. Stun Gas for 3 grass. Flip a coin. If heads, defending Pokemon are poisoned. If tails, defending Pokemon are paralyzed for 20. I mean, if you're really stuck, you could maybe use it and hope for a paralysis to stall for time. But again, it's not great. But the attack is there, just worth noting. We have I think it's a German one as well. So this is our 4 copies of Dark Weezing. We play a 2/2 Brock's Vulpix, Brock's Ninetales in the deck. So we have our Japanese Brock's Ninetales, which is a little bit cheaper to buy than the English ones. I have a few English ones in other decks, but when I was building this is one of the later decks I built, so I was kind of like happy to accept some Japanese cards, and they look pretty cool anyway. The Japanese ones, sorry, the glare there. Yeah, it's still a pretty cool card. So Hypnotic even Gaze. The defending Pokemon is now asleep. Pretty useful attack, for stalling. Fire Ring. If your opponent has any bench Pokemon, choose one of them, and this attack does 10 damage to it and 20 to the active. It's alright, but we don't really play fires in the deck, so it's really just a Hypnotic Gaze. So a 2/2 Lime. Now, this is obviously in Japanese, but I'll tell you what it does. So it's, again, we don't use its attack because it's fire, but so Brock's Ninetales has I think the ability is called shape shifting, where basically if you have your Brock's Ninetales on the bench, you can put a Dark Weezing from your hand straight down onto it, and what that does is it lets you basically have more cards with Weezing and Coffin in their name on your bench. So then you can have your Coffins either side of it. So basically, you can just basically see these 2 Ninetales as 2 extra Weezings in your deck, which is pretty useful. And it can shape shift into those Weezings, and then obviously improves your damage output as well, which is really good. And we play 2/2 of those. Pop Dark Weezing back here. Okay, so we play 3 Clefas. Clefa is obviously a staple in Rocket On. For that Eek attack, shuffle your hand, draw 7. And obviously has the baby rule where if it gets attacked, you have to flip a coin to see if the attack goes through. We played 3 of them. I suppose that's technically a little bit on the lower side because most decks play 4, but we've got Brock's Vulpixes and Weezings, and also you don't really want Clefas sitting on your bench, because if a Clefa's out in the field, then that's less damage that your Dark Weezing's putting out there. So, you know, ideally you want to lead with Clefa, help, you know, get it set up, and then even ideally, even if it gets knocked out, then it leaves up a bit more space for your Weezings and to increase your damage output. So there are Clefas for our Pokemon line. So the Boss's Ways is the first deck I believe we've shown, I think anyway, that has the name of the channel, the Boss's Way. So this is the inspiration obviously for the name of the channel. So search your deck for an evolution card with Dark in its name, show it to your opponent and put it into your hand. So really useful just for tutoring out the Dark Weezings. We play 3 of those. Erica's Kindness is a really great card. Remove 2 damage counters from your Pokemon, from each Pokemon, with any damage counters on it, so yours and your opponent's. If a Pokemon has just 1, you can remove it. So again, really useful for clearing our damage off that Dark Weezing spreads around, but obviously you want to be careful with how you're using it, so you're not like healing your opponent and then putting them out of, you know, range of being knocked out from your attacks. So yeah, really good card, 4 of it. Then we have Good Manners, another Erica themed card. In order to play this card, you can't have any basic Pokemon cards in your hand. Show your hand to your opponent and search your deck for a basic Pokemon card. Show it to your hand, show it to your opponent and put it to your hand afterwards. So really, really good again, just for getting out your your basics, and yeah, just a good way of getting your Pokemon out. So we have 4 Professor Elm, shuffle your hand, draw 7, but then if you use it, you can't play any more trainers for the turn, so you just have to make sure your sequencing's right before you play Elm, so that if there's any trainers, well, I suppose if you're using it, you know, if there's, you'd always use Elm at the end anyway, because it's going to get rid of those trainers, you know. So then we have the 3 copies of the Nightly Garbage Run. Choose up to 3 basic Pokemon cards, evolution cards, and or basic energy cards from your discard pile. Show them to your opponent and shuffle them into your deck. So just recovery for the deck, which is good to have. Brock's Training Method. Search your deck for a basic or evolution card with Brock in its name and show that card to your opponent. Then put it into your hand and shuffle your deck afterwards. So good for just searching specifically your Brock pieces out, which is good because then you can kind of, you know, use Good Manners for your other Pokemon. So we have our XP All. So we have a era correct one here, but in German I believe, and we have one from later on. This could be, is this 04, 05 maybe? Oh, it's 04. But they basically read the same thing, the same way. So during your opponent's turn, if one of your active Pokemon is knocked out by your opponent's attack, you may take 1 basic energy card attached to that knocked out Pokemon and attach it to the Pokemon with XP All attached to it. And if you do, discard XP All. So again, when your Dark Weezing gets knocked out, you can move an energy across to your next Dark Weezing just to chain the attacks more fluidly, because Mass Explosion does require 2 energy, a grass and a colourless. We have Rocket's Hideout, which is a great stadium in these dark decks. It just puts up your dark Pokemon's HP by 20, because dark Pokemon do tend to have lower hit points. Double Gust, if you have any bench Pokemon, your opponent chooses one of them and switches it with their active Pokemon. Then if your opponent has any bench Pokemon, chooses one of them and switches out with their active. So just a good way of targeting Pokemon that you want to take easy knockouts on. Maybe I was going to say Clefas, but then there's always the chance that, you know, you flip wrong. But again, it's just for, I suppose, targeting things and even pivoting maybe Pokemon that you have in your active, and you want to get out of there. Transparent Walls, I really like this card. It has Weezing in the picture of it, so I feel like it really fits the theme of the deck really well. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done from attacks. Prevent all damage from attacks done to your bench Pokemon. So basically, this lets you have Mass Explosion for free. Well, for free, but I mean, like, it's not going to cause any damage to your bench. Here comes Team Rocket. So each player plays with his or her prize cards up for the rest of the game. Can just help you pick out, like, say, Dark Weezings and Coughings, because at the end of the day, if they're prized, then your damage output is automatically reduced. So you want to be able to pick them out of the prizes when needed. And again, with Dark Weezing, Dark Pokemon, Giovanni, Team Rocket, it all kind of like links in together well. Then we have Goldberry here, I think it could be in German. Basically, you attach it to a Pokemon, and it can heal up to 4 damage counters off that Pokemon between turns. And I think it has to have at least 4 damage counters on it for it to work. And it heals it between turns and then it's discarded. Then for our energies, we play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 grass energy. Just important to have because of that grass requirement for our main attack of the deck. This is our metal energy I was talking about. We play 4 copies of that. That basically reduces the damage that Dark Weezing does to itself and the active to 0, and the damage it does to your Coughings and Weezings on the bench to 10, which buys you more time. It means you can get more attacks off before you start knocking out your own Pokemon, and it kind of gives you more time as well, I suppose, to get your Erica's Kindnesses off and things like that to heal up. Then we play finally 2 copies of Dark Energy, just to give you an extra 10 damage for Pokemon with Dark in their name. So again, Weezing, can use Dark to ramp up its damage output as well, and it also has the versatility of Metal to kind of reduce the damage it does to itself and to its bench. So it kind of is a nice card. I mean, it might be nice to play more than 2, but and maybe there could be an argument for taking out a Transparent Walls and adding in another Dark, but I've kind of found that this to play pretty well and pretty fun. So that's it, guys. That's Dark Weezing from Rocket On. Let me know what you think of it. Really loved building this deck. I just love the art from this format, and I really like the concept of dark Pokemon and Team Rocket Pokemon or evil Pokemon. I think there's actually a Dark Sylveon V that got announced there, so hopefully they're actually thinking of bringing back the dark mechanic. I'm just a sucker for that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's it. This has been The Boss's Way, and we'll talk to you next time.